I'd like to call the meeting of the Budget Finance Committee to order, and let's go around and do introductions.
I'm Kate Geyer, the CFO.
Mike Chadwick, Internal Audit.
Peter Russell, Internal Audit.
Shirley Nelson, Budget Advisory Chair.
Bill Evans, Assembly.
Tim Steele. Pete Peterson, Assembly.
Elby Gray Johnson.
Amy Domboski, Assembly, and may I start by saying thank you, Madam Chair, for this wonderful party and these food. It was wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome. And I'll just say that the candies over there and the holiday plate were made by my legislative aide, Sherry Easton.
Wow.
Yeah, so, anyway. thank
Well, I
you.
got one of each, so.
Okay, the MOI financial status. Kate, you're on.
Right, so last time I came before you, I didn't actually have a report. So I thought it would be helpful if I came forward with some type of written report to you about the financial status. I know you get a monthly report, and this meeting would be a very helpful meeting to give you a preview of those monthly reports before we file them with the Assembly. So I've given you October and November, as they'll both be filed at the next meeting. October is kind of old news, and much of it is repeated in the November report, so I'm going to focus on the November report, Madam Chair. The municipality is 91.5% through the budget year. The second page will show you the details of each budget that we're tracking. The revised budget, those are appropriations and supplementals that you have made, and then the actual budget expenditures, adding in encumbrances that are expected to be cleared by the end of the year to give you the actual encumbrances spent to date, whether we're over or under budget. Right now, you would expect us to be on an aggregate basis under budget, and we are. And you would compare the 88.2%, which is this percent of budget spent and encumbered, to the 91.5% through the year. So that should tell you that we're currently anticipating a lapse of some type, which I reported to the Assembly last month. We're currently holding to the conservative $2 million as a budget lapse from expenditures. It looks like that's going to come to fruition, without a doubt. The fire department, we had previously reported to you that the fire department may be over budget at $500,000. The fire department has worked over their budget with OMB, and they emailed me recently that they believe they'll be in compliance with their budget. The health department, again, may exceed its budget by $25,000. They have a pretty tight budget, and the thing that threw them was the mid-year leave cash out that occurred so we could work with the payroll system. So I don't anticipate that was a management problem. It really was that amount was unbudgeted in the fiscal year and they couldn't really accomplish it. They have a lot of contracts that are fixed fee.
Before we continue, I just want to make sure everybody understands what that leave issue was all about. Is everybody familiar with that, the leave issue? Okay, thank you. You are, okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, MLMP has notified us that it will need to take a supplemental appropriation forward to the Assembly for $5 million. They are going to be meeting with the Assembly's Oversight Committee. I can't remember what it's called. The Enterprise Committee, I apologize. The Assembly Enterprise Committee for a more detailed discussion. We've gone over their numbers. It's a number of unanticipated costs. They did not budget for 1 quarter's worth of the increase for their gas cost adjustment, so that kind of is just a budget mistake. People make mistakes. And there were some unanticipated repairs. They can tell you in more detailed notice. My objective is to just let you know, and their objective is to give you the greater details, and I believe that those meetings are scheduled. This is not going to mean that MLMP is operating at a loss. There are revenues which will allow them to still make, I believe, a net profit for the year. It's not going to affect the dividend, which has already been paid. It's really, they have to appropriate revenues, they appropriate expenditures legally in order to get to the year end and be in compliance with the law.
Just accounting.
Thank you.
Just accounting, thank you, sir. I could have said that a lot briefer.
That was my next question, so thank you for the explanation.
We don't anticipate there are any other departments that will overspend their budgets for 2014. We've informed you of the ones that we think might be out of compliance. There is always, I'm learning, the workers' compensation, different fund, but every year there's an IBNR that's calculated in February. It looks like we'll be making a supplemental appropriation for that IBNR, which is incurred but not reported expenditures that the actuary calculates for us in January. We provide it to you in February.
I have one question, if I may. I'm looking at the $86 million, okay, amount under budget, but I'm assuming that debt service hasn't been encumbered or subtracted yet.
When I look at these numbers, I look at how much each department is spending on a monthly basis.
Right.
So these amounts, I don't know the answer to your question about the debt service.
Okay, all right, but maybe.
I can find out though. and
Yeah,
I'll email
I think it
I'll email
probably
the
is,
clerk.
but that service is still within Public Works and wherever else there's debt service.
Okay.
So, thank you.
That would conclude my presentation, unless there's any other questions that you have.
Any questions for me? Sorry about that. Lost my phone, so that's why I was a little off beat, you know. Now I have a happy person all over the place. It was amazing. Sorry about that. This is amazing. Oh, okay, no questions. All right, so we'll move on. I just wanted to talk a little bit about our committee work plan, because it's pretty extensive. And I'm just hoping that early next year, Cindy will have a budget person on board to help us reach our goals, because we're really going to need some help doing that. We can't do it by ourselves, and I just want to mention that. Okay, report from the Budget Advisory Commission.
We just broke up, and of course, we've been working close with the school district with what's going on and the extra money and so on and so forth. So 3 things maybe I'll just bring to your attention. I've been working with Mark Foster and understanding the CAFR report. And one thing I did ask for him for our commission was to an actual 13-14 to budget 13-14 on the same format as they gave us with the 15-16 pro forma, because we really want to see a little bit better comparison to actually see if we can catch, I guess, what we're looking for, why, the big question why. And also with the new thing that came up with the loaning of this German school and stuff like that, I think this has just happened in between our reports, so we want to talk with them a little bit more of how that came about and what the intention, and learn a little bit more about it. And also, we will be handing out in our January meeting, and Alvio, you're obviously on the list to come and visit. You heard it in the last report about property tax exemptions. We have put together a report, and I think it would be beneficial. We're just going to hand it out. It's something that we put together, worked at length on, and so we will just present it and leave it in other people's hands as to how you want to discern the information. So, to the assembly and also to the administration, just on what the exemptions are, and we have the IRS tax codes and so on included in there as well. So it's a pretty intensive report, and I think it's worth looking into. So that's about it.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And if I can follow up on that, at the last Budget Advisory Commission meeting that was discussed, and it was my recommendation, and if you all agree, that would, be great, and if you don't, it's also still good. But anyway, but my recommendation is that the Budget Advisory Committee present that report to the Budget Finance Committee, and then we do our overview and then make a recommendation to the body as a whole. Think that will work?
I think it's a great idea. One of the things that's been interesting watching this committee work for quite a while, essentially for those that don't know, they're looking at all properties within the municipality, stuttering, that potentially have tax exemptions and whatnot, and just reevaluating those and looking at IRS tax code, just to see if there may be policy changes that we might want to think about. And maybe evaluate some of the properties that are getting some of these exemptions, whether they really should be. So I think it's, it's always a delicate situation, because you can imagine the types of properties that have applied for these. So, but I think it's great to see the committee basically wipe away politics and just say these are the facts. So I think it's, I'm looking forward to seeing what's in it.
And one follow-up on that, Madam Chair, is we were looking at pilot programs too, payment in lieu of taxes, and so we had followed a study of Andover, Massachusetts, and where any college, for example, will help pay for services, snow removal and police and so on. So we're giving those that information as well to show what other communities are doing and stuff. I think it's very informative, so we look forward to it.
Mr. Steele?
And what are we doing in that regard? I mean, not just what others are doing, but do we have those situations? And
Yes, we do.
Where are we, where is it being used?
And we do have limited ones that are going on right now, and that's included in the report. It gives the amounts and so on, so.
If I can follow up, I think it would probably be a good idea if somebody from Budget Advisory Commission, maybe yourself, or whoever you want to designate, can come to the meeting, give us a presentation and a copy of the report as a start.
Sure.
I think that'll work. And so do you think the January meeting would be too soon, or should we wait till February?
Well, we're ready to present it. We moved our meeting to January 14th, the second Wednesday, because of the holidays and so on. So we're going to present it to the administration and to the assembly at that 14th meeting. Do you want to see it ahead of time?
Yeah, because I just thought it would be a good idea before it got presented to the assembly, okay? That, and I know the BAC reports or advises both the assembly and the mayor that it would be a good idea if it was presented to the Budget and Finance Committee first,
Okay.
Since it is a budget issue, and then we could do our review and make a recommendation to the rest of the body. Does that work?
Sure. So what are your next meetings?
We meet the third Thursday of every month. So,
Thursday.
So the third Thursday would be 7/21, the 22nd of January.
January.
Right.
Can I ask clarification? So when you're saying you're presenting it to the assembly, are you guys just basically adopting and releasing the report on January 14th? We don't have a meeting of the whole or anything like that?
No, not at all, just
It's
to.
just, you guys, have you voted on it already? And-
Yes.
Okay, so you're just going to basically release the report on the 14th?
Correct. So we did a resolution saying that we will present the report, and we were just going to invite a representative of the assembly and the municipality at the January 14th meeting, and.
Okay, that works, because either me or Amy will be there anyway, or both of us.
And
yeah.
maybe, Madam Chair, if we could come to that meeting on the 22nd and further discuss it.
That would be great. That would
If
be
that
really
works.
great. I'll put that on the agenda for the 22nd.
Okay.
Okay, and as I just said, Amy and I will probably both be at your BAC meeting.
Okay.
When you present it, and then it'll be on the agenda for the Budget Finance Committee meeting on January 22nd, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, most certainly. I will have probably myself and two other members that have been, or there's three members that have been working on it that night, so, okay.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, comments on this? Okay, well, if there's no other comments on anything, other than, for me, wishing everybody a wonderful, wonderful holiday, and thank you for your service throughout 2014, and I look forward to working with everybody again in 2015. Mr. Steele?
Thank you, Elvie, too. The budget process really went pretty well this year, and I think a lot of that has to do with organization, understanding, and the efforts that you took to try to get us all up to speed.
Thank you, Mrs. Steele. Okay, Devin?
I have two questions. The supplementals, Kate, in the budget, are those for like annual? It's on an annual basis, the supplemental amounts that are allocated?
No, these are items which the supplemental appropriations that have been made subsequent to the budget.
Right, for the whole year though, yeah, okay, got it, okay. And the property tax report, what is an example of a property that might hypothetically have its exemption reevaluated?
Churches.
Ah, okay, got it.
That's one.
You know, you want me to tell you what the controversial issue is? I'll tell you.
Yes.
One of the controversial issues we've heard over the years is, I don't think there's dispute that the primary resident, or the primary church gets the exemption, but so do properties owned by the church. So houses, whatnot, that tends to be the area that people are, yeah, there's differing opinions.
Yeah, okay.
So.
I'm from ADN, so I think I'd probably be interested in seeing that for sure. You don't plan to release it any sooner than the 14th? Okay.
We'll be at our 14th meeting.
Okay, so we should
I have a
probably be there.
feeling she'll be there too.
Yeah, I might put it on my calendar.
You guys gonna shoot that just on the 14th too, if you're going for the meeting?
Well, you know, and it may not be a bad idea if I may, just to invite the committee to go to that meeting.
I think that would be great if everybody could make it.
I've already made note of it, so.
But if we're not there,
But if you're
you send us a
not,
copy of the report.
if you're not there, we'll make sure.
It's just the, and we also have a CD that goes along with it, and stuff, so it's pretty.
Or we get hard copies and just put it in our mailbox or something, that'd be helpful.
What's the time and place, like time of day and then the
12 o'clock,
place?
8th floor,
12 at the 8th floor conference room? Okay, got it.
on the 14th, right?
Correct.
And we'll make note that Mr. Evans probably won't be there.
Can never tell.
If it's not a full day effort, if it's not an 8 to 5 day,
Okay, any other comments or